You know what this is? This is the collective sound of everyone's bank accounts getting just a little smaller, and we're gonna take a look at it in this episode of Airsoftology Reviews. Okay, so I do want to talk about this. This is long awaited. This is the Novritsch SSX23. We kind of knew it was coming. We saw him running this pistol for, well, quite a while, all taped up like one of those prototype cars you see driving around Germany in the Autobahn area when they're doing the testing. Like, oh, we don't want to show our new stuff. Well, we all could hear the sound. We could all figure it out. We all saw that there was no action and how quiet it was. So everybody kind of had a pretty good feeling that a Mark 23 clone was going to be coming. But in true Novritsch style, now that we know what to expect from him, we do see upgrades. Now, the big question is, before everybody, and I'm sure you're already just furiously typing in the comments, it's overpriced, hey, you know what? Let's talk about what's going on with this. Let's talk about what you get for the dollars, how much you spend, and what's going on under the hood, as well as performance, because all this thing's gonna add up to the total package. And as you see it here, there are accessories. So let's dive on into externals first, and then we're gonna go to internals where there's a lot of stuff going on. So first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and I'm talking about how big this pistol is. This is, like I said, the SSX23. It's Novritsch's Mark 23 pistol. It's his version of it. This one has all the goodies on it. I've added a red dot with the rail. It doesn't have the lower rail installed. I decided not to put that one on mine just yet. But then the big long suppressor. Now you can take the suppressor off. It is, always get it backwards because this one is clockwise, 16 millimeter clockwise, which is opposite of most airsoft guns. Most airsoft guns are 14 millimeter counterclockwise. So you have that. Suppressor is extremely light, very well made, quite nice. The only thing it has on is like Novritsch right here on this side and CC or 16 CW on that side threaded. This version is the international version. It has foam on the inside, so it does do a big difference. The barrel itself is threaded. We're gonna talk about all the externals first, but I'm gonna put this thing back on just a little bit for you guys to show you something about the size. Like I said, I've been doing suppressors so long, it's like opposite to me. This is his pistol. And I'll have it all the way. Look at the size. It is the same length. Really, the same length. There you go. There it is. So to give you an idea of how big this is, now obviously this thing weighs a whole lot more. This thing's nowhere near as heavy. Let me put that down. But this will give you an idea of what you're looking at size-wise with all of this on, give you kind of a representation. Let's talk about the pistol, what's going on here, and with accessories. First off, I will say what is an accessory on here. The red dot, and then there's a rail below it. Now the rail itself is an additional cost. You'll pick that up, but it's designed specifically for this. It has like cutouts, grooves, everything. It's even channeled here around where the barrel was made up. It's very well done. It's also carved in and out, so you can still use the sights. So on the sights themselves, he's gone with fiber optic sights instead of the stock ones that you get. If we're gonna do some comparison here. So we have a green in the middle on the front, so that's your green front one here. And we have a pair of these orange ones in the back. They're fiber optic and they work perfect. Now, with the red dot on, they're not gonna work. If you take this red dot off, which this one just screws onto an accessory rail, it's a standard Picatinny rail. You take it off, like I said, it's channeled out and you can still use those sights perfectly. They still work, no problem. I like that he did that instead of doing the rails that were just flat across, and then it prevents you from using those sights. Outer barrel itself is metal. Also the inner barrel, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with the inner barrel, but I do want to talk about this since it's noticeable here, goes all the way to the end. It's not like recessed back inside. It almost sits perfectly flush with the end of the actual outer barrel on the gun. The body, the lower frame is polymer, not bad, but yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna just be a little nitpicky here. Not the best, not the worst by any stretch of the imagination, but I kind of almost thought it'd be a little better going off his other pistols. That's one area I think there could be a level of improvement. It's still good, it still feels nice, but I just think that maybe there's a nylon fiber component to it, could maybe step it up a notch. On it, you've got all the usual stuff, texture here in the grip, different ones in the front and back versus the sides. Novritsch right here on this side and on that side as well. So it says Novritsch down the side. That's kind of the only trademark you're gonna see aside from the white SSX23 and a unique serial number right next to it. On this side, you get the slide release, which doesn't work because this is a non-blowback pistol, kind of a fake decocking lever, and then a functional safety. Now the safety and the slide release are both and that's the takedown pin function is there as well, are both made of metal. So like that, when you do cock it back to get it started, and then once you have the hammer back, you can use the safety. It's red, all right, it goes up and it's actually white. You see the white, it covers up the red and comes back down. It is ambi, so you can use it if you're a lefty or a righty. Same with the mag release, it is metal itself. It's the kind of the HK style one here, left and right of the trigger guard. You press down, the mag comes out. We'll talk about the mag itself, but I'm gonna say a lot of the weight of this gun does come from this magazine. This is pretty darn hefty, all metal tip to toe, including the base plate, which I do like he did that, because if you do some mag changes, some reloads, you drop this thing on the ground, with how heavy this mag is, had he gone with the plastic base plate, it probably would have been cracked pretty soon. Now we're gonna talk about some other components on this when we get into the internals, but I do want to talk about the one thing about the mag is on it, when you load it all the way up, it does have a nice little hole right here, so you can pull the follower back and load from the side. I love that he did that too, that way you don't have to try to load from the top. That takes forever. You can just speed load right in that hole, hold the follower all the way back, speed load in, and rock and roll. All right, mag back in, we're gonna move on up. The slide. Now on the competitors out there, you're seeing the stock one, it is a polymer slide. He went with an aluminum slide. So it's still lightweight, but it's metal, it's strong, it's pretty darn thick too. So you have a metal slide on this. So that's one of your major upgrades, aside from like the optics on the outside here too, as well as the barrel extension, things like that, or the inner barrel going to the end. But that is it. And with that slide, since he has a new slide, he was able to add those 4 holes up top to mount this rail. Now, something about this rail, I do like the fact he gives you a little Allen key in the bag to install the rail. The problem is there's 4 holes in the top of the slide. Now what he's done is there's actually 4 little tiny like kind of set screw nubs. I'll grab them here. They're little tiny little nub guys right here with a little blue Loctite on them, as they kind of fill the holes so you don't get junk down in your gun, which is awesome. And he gives you the correct Allen key to put the rail on. The problem is he doesn't give you a 1.5 millimeter to take those 4 screws out. So I would like to see him in that accessory kit, maybe add a 1.5 millimeter on this, because that's what I had to go. I mean, I've got a kit, if you're a tech, you probably have one of these sitting around. It wasn't a deal at all. I was like, which one? Oh, it's a 1.5, no biggie. But you're gonna need a 1.5 inch hex driver to take those 4 screws out, which is not included in the upper rail kit. Moving on down, we're gonna see I'm a huge oversized, and this is like the original pistol this kind of based off, was based for like SOCOM, Special Operations Team. So for like wet and huge oversized gloves and wintertime use and all that. So you get this massive rail. Now it is the HK rail on here, so it is the wide, fat, you can't fit a flashlight on it, but he does offer an accessory rail, which I have right here. I opted not to put it on, and it comes like in a little package here. You got a couple screws. It's got a couple screw points here. It's curved perfectly to match the curvature here at the bottom, and a drill bit, because it's gonna be DIY. You're gonna have to take this thing apart. That's why I didn't put it on there, and drill from the inside, actually tap some holes, and you're gonna actually put the screws in from the inside to hold it up, because the screws don't go through. The rail's nice and solid here. So you have to tap your own holes to do that. So it's gonna be a bit of a DIY project if you want to add that on there. Personally, I wouldn't. It's just not me. But some of you guys and gals that want to run lights and things like that, you're going to want to add it. Or there are a lot of other companies that do a rail adapter. I think his is pretty affordable when it comes to it. If you're not afraid of a little DIY, it's not a big deal. The only thing here in the bottom is like a little part that says made in Taiwan. It's kind of there, you know, usually the serial number plate is on the real guns. It's right in there. So overall, I mean, I think the build quality is good. Oh, the trigger is also metal too, as well as this big oversized hammer in the back. It is it's the 23, so the grip is very large. If you have smaller hands, this will probably not be the pistol for you. No points off for Novritsch on that one, because I mean, that's what this pistol is. It's just the nature of it. It's the beast that is this huge hand cannon, and it really is. But it's not incredibly super oversized though. So pick it up and give it a shot. I think you'll be surprised. When I first picked it up, oh, this thing's so big. And then after you use it a little bit, and you're like, you know what? It's really not that bad. The weight balance is good because of the metal slide and the metal grip, or the metal big metal magazine here with the polymer on the lower frame. So I think overall balance of this pistol is nice. It's easy to maneuver, easy to use. No problem there. On his red dot, it's very bright. It does get bright. It's kind of got a 3-button design here to turn on. Power buttons here, then up and down brightness, all rubber with click up and down, 1 MOA adjustment, and left and right. It is a red dot, it's not a red or green, so you're just gonna look at a red on this one. You hit the button once to turn it on, and it is nice and bright, nice and shiny there, so you can easily get onto your target. For me, I go back and forth for red dots. I like this one, but when you're running the suppressor, it's nice because it helps you get you over the suppressor a little bit better. Now the sights you put on here are rather tall. They do clear the suppressor just by a bit, so you can still aim using them and the suppressor doesn't cover it. I think it would have been a little cooler if they would have been slightly taller to help clear the suppressor just a little bit more for those of you who want to run it. Now, the suppressor here. This is mock suppressor, and I say mock, but not really mock because it does make a sound difference. Now I don't have any BBs in this, so before you guys get on me about dry firing, I have tested and checked and it's been verified before I start this, so there's no iPro going on here. So this is gonna be the sound of the pistol. I'm gonna put it right up next to my mic. I'm gonna shoot it across me here, not at me of course, but across me on this. Rest in peace, headphone users. But we're gonna go ahead and put the suppressor on. Now, this, I say mock, but it's not really mock, because this thing does a good job, because this is a non-blowback pistol, meaning the slide does not move at each shot. We're just talking about the hammer, striking, opening the valve, loading the BB on the inside and firing. Now, good grief, gotta hold it way back here. It makes a big difference. So now you're going to, you hear more of this than you do of that when you change it. So that's what makes this. Now you add a BB in here and it gets even more quiet because it has that back pressure. So that's again why you run this. If you're running the sniper rifle, you want a silent killer, this is definitely gonna be your go-to. All right, let's talk about internals here because there's a lot of stuff going on inside the gun as well as the outside. We saw, the red dot mount, the rail mount, which I don't have on here so you can add the light, a regular standard flashlight, so a regular Picatinny rail. But inside we have a couple things going on. First off, if you slide this back and you kind of take a peek, you can see it down in there in the crack. You can see it has the Maple Leaf Autobot bucking in here. So what that lets you do is through this Allen key adjustment, which he gives you the key, let me grab the right one here, in the kit, you can come right here and you can adjust your hop up and down. This thing will hop all the way to a 0.46 BB. So that is the Maple Leaf Autobot, which is what a lot of people were putting in these things anyway. This is one of those standard first upgrades that people were doing so they could hop heavier BBs. Because remember, the Marie platform is based to really shoot .20s, maybe 23s, maybe 25s, that's it, not much, because of the low power requirements. And when you get to something like this, that's higher power, you're going to want to hop those heavier BBs. So, I'm gonna lean back here. You can run his BBs, of course. So there's a good reason too. He obviously wants to move BBs. So you can have the same BBs you're running in your sniper rifle in the gun, which is nice. You don't have to carry 2 different weight BBs and dig around, 2 different speed loaders. So it's kind of convenient having that in there so you can have 1 BB weight for all of your platforms when you're playing. If you're kind of doing the Whispering Death backup pistol and sniper rifle combo, which is what he runs and a lot of guys out there run when they're the snipers. Also, it has a precision inner barrel in here. Like I showed you, it goes all the way to the muzzle end. It's kind of like crater cutter fluted at the end. So it's actually an upgraded barrel from like what the stock is or some of the other clones that are out there on the market. So that's something a lot of people were putting in there on that. Don't know who's making the barrel. I can't tell you that because I don't know it. It's really obvious it's the Maple Leaf Autobot because of the coloring of it. It has a very distinct kind of like this glowing, almost looks like it should glow in the dark, green, white kind of color. But on the inner barrel itself, it's brass. And from what I can tell looking at this, very well made. It's not a cheapy, flat cut, cheap garbage barrel. I mean, definitely good. I'm sure some techs when they get out there in the world, they're gonna go, oh, I know it's this model right here, or they're gonna figure out who the OEM is on that. But I'm gonna say going based on some of the other features we're gonna talk about here in a second, internally, it's probably a pretty good brand. Also, I know a lot of you guys and gals that did this upgrade, gas routing gasket right here. It's a little harder material, so it seals up better. Also, less issues with the trigger, things like that. That is one thing. So that's been added on all the magazines. So when you buy a mag from him and you have any of those, it's gonna have that upgraded gas router mag on it, or gas router portion here. So where it comes and clicks in and mates inside. Also has the TDC plus the Maple Leaf fitting pressure plate inside as well. So that's another upgrade a lot of people were doing. So if you guys are into modding your Mark 23s, these are starting to be the checklist of the go-to components to put into those, and that's where the SSX23 comes in. Again, following what Novritsch has done with his other stuff. So a few more things here. The nozzle loading sword has been polished, so a less sticky trigger on that. You'll feel the trigger smoother. If you guys notice on these non-blowback pistols, they have kind of a grindy, kind of sometimes stuck, get locked in a weird position. You got to kind of clear it. That's one of those things. Also a tighter mag well. So on this mag well is, there's no that's like up in here, you're hearing, that's like the trigger, I think. There's no wobble down there at all in the mag well, which I think is good too. So he's kind of shimming up and sealing up all the problems. I mean, he's been running a Mark 23 for a while, so he kind of knows the issues. He's been looking at the community, so he's kind of giving you something that's pre-installed or ready to go. So there's no overpressure valve like you find in the Marui stuff. So on this, you are good to go. It's a standard good old fill valve, no overpressure valves in there or inside, so nothing to blow off or to release the extra pressure. You can crank this thing up with a green gas, no problem. I probably wouldn't go any higher. I haven't tested it with anything bigger than green gas. I mean, it might be okay, but again, do at your own risk. This is designed around green gas. I would stick to it. All right, chrono, pretty good numbers here, right? I'm chrono with 0.20 gram BB, so you're seeing on the thing what you get. Obviously no rate of fire here because it's gonna be as fast as you pull your trigger finger, it's going to fire. I mean, this isn't a huge rapid fire beach. The trigger pull is quite long, but the FPS is respectable, it's workable. And again, he's got this thing set up so you can run very heavyweight BBs in this thing. So it can go all the way up to 4.6s. I think the sweet spot's gonna be like the 3.2, 3.6 range. And again, being a sniper, probably gonna run the same BB in here, which is nice. You have that option as you do your actual sniper rifle. You're not gonna do a ton of shots with this, so you're not gonna be going through those expensive BBs too much like you would some kind of full auto gun. So it might be worth, with the precision barrel, the nice bucking, everything involved, to put good BBs in to get the good performance out of it. So this is gonna set you back 135 euros, and that's not with this rail, not with the rail, which I don't have on here, and not with this optics. That's just the bare bones pistol. It does come with this case back here behind me, this plastic case. You do get that, and you get like the little Allen key to do the hop-up adjustment and things like that. So you get that. If you wanna add the optic and the rail, those are extra accessories. This is going to set you back another 40 euros if you want the suppressor. They do not come as a kit. So you're looking at 175 euros right there. By the time you add the accessories, you're gonna be over 200 euros. Let's just put it that way. If you want it built as is, you're looking at this configuration here is gonna be north of 200 euros, and you're probably gonna add an extra mag in there. So all in all, it's gonna be pricey. That's what we all knew, right? You're gonna get everything installed, you're paying for the gun and all the extras, but you're gonna pay for it. And that's kind of the story of Novritsch, right? If you want to balance bad side on this or downside, I'm sure there's a lot of it's overpriced. Hey, a lot of people don't do the tuning. A lot of people don't do upgrades. He's offering pre-upgraded options in the marketplace to give you the performance of someone who does spend all the time tuning and not having to do it. And a lot of people don't have shops that can do GBB or non-blowback pistol tuning. It just depends. It's a little more specialized skill set. So all in all, you do pay for it, but it is one of those things that it's, if you don't have the tech skills, you don't have a tech near you, this is a great option in case that, if you have the wallet. If your wallet is a little fat and you want to make it a little skinnier, this is definitely it. Overall, like his other stuff, the sniper rifle, the other pistol, I think it performs very well. Like I said, the downside is the price point, but hey, you knew before you even clicked on this video, there's a Novritsch gun that we're gonna be talking about, something that's going to be on the very, very premium end when it comes to airsoft. So now I shall let you loose onto the comment section below. Don't forget, by the way, guys, I do have a web store that supports the channel here, and I do sell a bunch of custom morale patches on there, free shipping worldwide. You can check it out. It's in the corner over here, link, or down in the description box below. I want to hear also in the comment section what you guys and gals think of this. I'm sure, well, I know what some of you guys are going to say, but be constructive. Do you have one yet? Are you going to pick one up? Is this something on your list? I've been wanting this. I don't care about the big land units, so I'm kind of glad you don't have to pay for that. And then the importer Marui was like 200 and something US. I don't know. I've always wanted the, so quiet. I mean, you hear that, not that. And then when you put a BB in here, it's just super quiet. If you want that stealth, this is what you got to pay for, right? Well, anyway, but I want to know what you guys and gals think. Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you as part of the Airsoftology family. Mash the sub button, hit the notification bell, and set up your customized notifications. I do upload every single week. I put videos up on this channel of question and answers and reviews like this one, and I do want to hear your feedback. So anyway, until next video, go out, play some airsoft, have some fun, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.